every Jamaican would be concerned about the level of crime, as the leader of the opposition puts it, the spike. And we would want to be able to respond with the special measures. But we're not relying on that. We are going to continue our plan to secure Jamaica, which includes increasing our border security. I mean, if I were to disclose the... Don't do it. But clearly you would have seen that interdiction for drugs has increased. Clearly you would have seen that getting the guns coming in at our ports, that has increased. Madam Speaker, you don't bring in 50 members of a gang by forming a squad to go out there and shoot them up. You bring in the members of the squad of the gang by increasing your intelligence gathering capacity. That is what the then opposition spokesman on that side was talking about. The government must increase its intelligence gathering. That is what we have done. The biggest hypocrisy that is being displayed here, Madam Speaker, is the request for more presence in communities that are affected.
Madam Speaker.
The biggest hypocrisy, allow me to speak, member.
On a point of order.
There is no point of order here.
On a point of order.
If you are asking me to yield, ask me to yield, but there is no point of order.
On a point of order. On a point of order.
Are you asking me to yield? You're asking me to yield.
On a point of order.
No, but there is no point of order. What is the point of order?
Have a seat, Prime Minister.
You have there are two persons standing over there. So just one person.
I've raised an point.
And remember what the standing order says about a point of order. So it has to be a point of order. What does it, what you are standing and the leader of the opposition is standing? No.
Sit down. Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Prime Minister.
But it doesn't matter how high the emotions run. Two people will not stand at the same time.
I agree. And Madam Speaker, when somebody rises on a point of order, the rules and convention is that the person on the other side sits to hear what the point of order is. Madam Speaker, the Prime Minister has described as hypocrisy the idea of asking for presence of the security forces in an area where there's a flare-up of violence. There's nothing hypocritical about asking for that. That's misleading the House, and it is unparliamentary, in my opinion, language to ascribe to that very basic and understandable request the idea that somebody is being hypocritical. Yeah.
Speak. If you speak as well.
The reality is...
I'm directing a question to the member and I'm hearing several voices on this side.
The reality...
What is the point of order?
The point of...
All we need to find out what is the point of order. That's all.
The point of order is to ascribe the motive of hypocrisy, which is to somebody who is putting forward the idea that there needs to be proper measures in place to protect the population.
This is not a point of order. Madam Speaker, he's making... Madam Speaker, I'm on my feet.
Sit. sit
I'm
on.
on feet. No, don't tell me stupid. Madam Speaker, that is not a point of order.
I am already dealing with the matter.
Member, please have your seat and let me
Both
finish.
they can make feel the same time.
Let me finish my point and then you can speak.
Both they can make feel the same time. Both they can make feel the same.
Thank you. Yeah. She's because of Wami. Because of Wami.
Members.
Yeah.
Members, may I remind this House, all of us, that the public, the eyes of the public are on us. May I remind you that, members,
She hasn't asked me to say.
the children are now with their tablets. Everybody is watching us. 2 wrongs do not make a right. I do not expect the leader of the opposition business to stand again for the second time while his leader is on his feet. And believe me, on this side, I understand what we're doing, and I have asked the member what is his point of order. And as what you have said, I do not rule as a point of order.
Very well, Madam Speaker, you are the arbiter of the standing orders. I accept your ruling. The point, though, is the courts have ruled that those measures that were being employed are unconstitutional, and until the Court of Appeal rules otherwise, they're not an option on the table for the government. And the population of the country has a right to expect that there will be a response to a spike in crime, and there's absolutely no reason why the security forces cannot be deployed in those areas. You do not need a state of emergency to do so. And that is to pretend otherwise is to mislead the House and to describe somebody who asked for that type of protection as a hypocrite. If it's not a breach of the standing orders, it is still unparliamentary, in my opinion.
Member, I know as a leader of the opposition, you have a right to place your things, but having ruled, and you have been very cooperative in the Parliament so far, and I expect you to do so. And if I rule on a point, you have raised a point of order, I have said I have ruled it is not a point of order. I believe in your personality and the way you have conducted yourself. I would have expected you to accept my ruling. I respect you, and if you respect the speaker, I'm going to ask you just to accept the ruling. I know that I'm here. So I have ruled there is not a point. What have you said?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I don't propose to go much further other than to complete my response to the Leader of the Opposition, which response was interrupted whilst I was in stride. But, Madam Speaker, the point that I was making was that there is a call for greater policing, greater presence in communities that are affected. The measure that immediately increases the capacity by more than 50% of the security forces to have additional, as we would call it, boots on the ground, to assure residents in communities. The measure that we have employed to do this is the declaration of the state of public emergency. And in that measure, certain communities have grown accustomed to having increased police presence and military presence supporting. Without that measure, it is going to stretch significantly the resources of the JCF, and indeed it will require them not to be able to spend the time that they would, the length of time that they would in various communities, because other communities are also calling for them. The point that I was making, in addition to that, is maybe purely by coincidence, is that the persons who are calling for increased presence of the security forces in their communities are also the same persons who are saying the measure cannot work, and we do not support the measure, and indeed we will vote against the measure. Now, Madam Speaker, the classic definition of hypocrisy is to say one thing and do another.
Madam Speaker, I heard the Prime Minister just make reference to having police or security presence in a community requires a SOE. That's the only way, by inference. But, Madam Speaker, it is not the same, it is the same thing we hear over and over. Can we have increased security presence in communities without a SOE? And I would like the Prime Minister, to answer that yes or no.
This is not a question time. It has not been placed before him. He has made a statement. Hold on.
Madam Speaker.
He has.
Madam Speaker, the Prime Minister made a statement to the House for which I'm asking question.
And.
What the hell is happening to this Parliament?
Hold on. Member, the Prime Minister has made a statement, and there has been a discussion, and it has come to a close. He is not obliged to get up at this point. That is not the case, member. The Prime Minister has spoken. There have been questions that have been asked. He has answered. You know, member, I can't talk as if you are talking either, you know, please. Member, you ask a question, you wonder what is happening. I wonder too, because I'm speaking and you are speaking. So, I don't understand either. I'm wondering. Afternoon is the recommittal of items. Announcements.
Also laid on the table of the House today is the report of the Standing Finance Committee of the whole House of Representatives, consisting of all members of the House, on the third supplementary estimates of expenditure for the financial year ending March 31, 2021, and the amendment to the Jamaica Public Bodies estimates of revenue and expenditure for the year ending March 31, 2021.
Reports from committees.
Madam Speaker, on a point of order, I refer to standing orders. On a point of order, standing order number 11A.
Madam Speaker, on a point of order, I'd like to know what is the point of order.
Listen,
what is the
hear.
point of order you are raising on? Madam Speaker, we need to know what is the point of order. Because there's no matter on the floor for him to be raising a point of order. Sit down, man.
Member, I am very familiar with 11 and 11A. I have the
Madam Speaker.
I have the standing orders in front of me.
But permit me to raise my point.
But I ruled at a point.
On the order, Madam Speaker.
Okay, let me hear your response.
You can't be in his feet while they're ruling. You can't be in his feet while they're speaking. You must respect the speaker. Once you start to speak,
sit down.
On your feet.
Member,
let me take you on.
I ruled on something. I respect the opposition views. I expect you to respect my views. I have ruled. There is no point of order. I ruled on something and we have to...
Madam Speaker, you can't say there is no point of you have not yet heard what point I'm raising. But you don't know what I'm referring to in section 11A.
Again, Madam Speaker, he cannot be in his feet while they are speaking. He cannot be in his feet while they are speaking in disrespect for the Speaker. Take your seat. Take your seat. As my Speaker. Who you talk about? Look here. You're a partial lawyer.
Members, I am very capable of managing and handling myself.